Well, hello, everybody. I'm Larry Little.
And I'm Melissa Jackson.
And you are listening to RelationShifts, the podcast. We're so glad you're here. And boy, this is going to be a fun episode. What you think?
It is going to be so much fun because it is time to celebrate and recognize, remember dads and the role that they have played in your life, or dad figures. So this is going to be maybe just, unfiltered. I don't know.
Well, it could be. Should we do a disclaimer or something before? Hey, we're not responsible for the content that comes out of here, because Larry could say anything.
I think that's a great disclaimer. Maybe a little more. Keep going. Add a little bit or something.
I do want to sound let me just get this out there to start with. Dads are they're great, but they pale in comparison to all the work that you moms do, and how you guys do so many things, balance so many balls. And so first and foremost, we understand that. At the offset of this pod, we understand it, we get it, and we're very appreciative of all the things that you do. We just kind of try to hang on.
That's so thoughtful of you,
there you
Larry.
go.
I mean, you're just starting this so well. This is good.
I wanted to start strong. Hey, as we talk about dads, we do realize that some may be listening who no longer have their dad, have lost their dad, or have an estranged relationship, that kind of thing, or maybe never even knew their dad. So we want to be respectful of that. And so as we talk about this, there may be a man in your life that's made a difference, that's impacted you in a certain way. And certainly as we talk about dads, we're referring to those significant male figures, in your life.
Also, current dads that, have kids, and they're figuring out the dad that they're going to be and what they want to look like as a dad. We've just got some good humorous pieces maybe today, and some shifts that we want to be able to talk about as well.
And just to set the record straight, I do have 2 adult children. My daughter is married, and my son is not, but they're both in their 30s. And my daughter is married, and her husband I kind of count as one of my own as well. So I guess I have maybe 3.
So you have some history, is what you're telling us. You've got some experience to bring to the table today.
I like that.
Yeah.
I do have some experiences.
Well, I am dying to hear some stories also about your dad, because I know Mr. Frank, and Mr. Frank has always been such an incredible man as long as I've known him.
Right.
And so he is just a unique fella. So
my dad, yes, we'll call him Frank because that's his name.
Okay.
And we, he has always been full of. I grew up in a home full of love, full of joy. He loves to laugh. He loves even now. He's 86, and most recently, I looked on. They're in this wonderful facility, assisted living, and I look on. It came up on my phone. I think it was on Facebook or something. And there's my dad in the assisted living in his wheelchair, and he has this wonderful, huge, big woman's hat on with sunglasses, and he's getting ready for the Kentucky Derby, I think they're having, and he was rolling him around, and he was, wishing everybody good luck. So he still loves to have fun. That's what I grew up with. I grew up with that kind of fun. And so I'll tell you a quick story. And if you are listening and you don't hear the story, you'll know it's because they edited it out. Okay. So my dad, I grew up, we had a small home. It wasn't just a little small, like a 3-bedroom kind of thing. And so my dad, he loved to play jokes. He loved to laugh. Well, by this time, I was actually in college. I was in college, and I had a friend, female friend, but just a friend. And she came home with me. I brought her home with me, and back then we did that. We just friends would come in, and we had a little pull-out couch, and she slept on the pull-out couch, which was about 20 steps from the bedroom that my mom and dad slept in. So my mom and dad, we all went to bed that night, and we're laying there in the dark. And my dad is in the bed, and he used to love to do this in the bed. So, Melissa, Melissa's looking at me like, I can't believe you're about to tell this story. So should I continue? So he's laying in the bed and she's on the couch. I'm in my bedroom, which is kind of between the two. So I can kind of, I could hear everything that's going on. And my dad lays in the bed and starts passing gas. He starts passing gas so loud. I'm horrified. And then I hear this giggle. He's just giggling. He's just laughing his head off. And I'm gonna give my friend credit. She just rolled with it. She laughed, but it was incredibly embarrassing. And now it's incredibly funny.
Oh my
I will say
goodness.
I've never done that to my children. But
wow. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to track your story. And I don't know. The brakes just started coming on in my mind.
You're like, stop.
Oh my goodness.
That tells you about Frank. He loves to laugh. He loves to have a great time. And I grew up in a home with a lot of joy and a lot of love.
Oh my goodness. Now, Mr. Frank, I've always known him to be a parrot.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah,
just
he's a
can
parrot.
strike up conversation, was always, he's always interested in other people and finding out about what's going on in, their world. And,
Loves
wow, what a story
everybody.
what a story that is. So
he loves to have fun. He loves everybody, and everybody loves him. So that's kind of how I grew up. What about you? Give us a little.
So if we're talking about personalities,
Yeah.
and our dads. So my dad was a lion camel. So now he did like to have fun, and he liked to cut up, not so much like Mr. Frank, but it looked a little different. But he loved to have his toys and kind of play. He had a motorcycle.
Wow.
He would love to ride motorcycles, and I remember my dad being such an entrepreneur. He would try new things. He would do lots of different jobs, and so he was always doing something, right? And as a lion would be, he would always be doing something, a little risk taking, motorcycle. I would ride with him on the motorcycle. We'd go for spins and for rides, and I would just kind of like hold on really, really tight.
and just for context, your dad's no longer with us.
Right.
He passed away a few years ago.
Yes, he sure has. So
that's great.
But he loved to make things happen. So
That's
Mr.
great.
Frank,
That's awesome.
parrot, Southern a lion.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, the thing is, we find ourselves for some reason as the years go on, and, of course, you're only 29, so you're probably not quite there yet.
Right,
but
not quite at all.
Those of us that, as we continue to age, we find ourselves saying and doing, not what Dad did in my story. I haven't done that, but other things that he says. Oh my gosh, I find myself saying, do you find yourself saying things like your dad said? Or?
I'm a mom, so I might hear them in my head. Maybe they don't really come out, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I know those pieces that, they pop out.
Yeah.
You might end up saying some, I can't wait. I need to hear some of these other comments, especially since you've told that story.
I've got some more for you.
Some dadisms that
dadisms.
Mr. Frank would say.
That's right.
Dadisms.
That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
These dadisms that, dads just do. And dads show love differently. We do. We're not, we're just different. We're not like moms, and we don't quite have that nurture ability, generally speaking. I'm talking in generalities, and everybody don't send me any emails, send them to Melissa Jackson. But generally speaking, we're not the nurturer, so we show love in different ways, and a lot of times that's through tasking or getting, taking care of something. I'll tell you one that I do. This is that I don't know why I do this, but now I do it. When I was growing up, my dad, and now I know it was because he loved us. Whenever I would leave, and later on in life, my sister, when she was driving and she left, but my dad would always come out to the car, walk around the car and check our tires. Every time. He'd kick them, he'd look at them, he'd kick them. And I'm like, why are you checking my, well, now with my daughter, Ren, when she went off to school, my son Landon, guess what I do? And I still do it to this day. If they come visit or they're going off for a trip, I'm checking the tires.
I'm
checking the tires.
Protective mode. Protected, so. Yes.
And what we're saying is, you know what? I love you. You know, that's what that really means. Yes. And you know that now.
Giving attention to, protecting, so, as we think about our dads and some of those dadisms, one does come to mind for me. And that is, and I'm sure you've heard this, because I think, I wonder, when did this one start? Like what year was it when this dadism started, and how does it, it keeps evolving, and I'm sure I'd be curious to see if you have said this one, but it's the one that money does not grow on trees.
Oh yeah.
Have you said that?
Yes.
Did you say that?
I did, especially when our kids were growing up. Oh yeah, money doesn't, what are you thinking? Money doesn't grow on trees. Yeah.
No, I do think I have said that one. I do think that I've taken that from my dad.
I wonder where that started. I mean, it's got to be old. Mm-hmm. And why do we say doesn't grow on trees? I mean, anyway, we can look at dads today. There are similarities. There are also differences. Research tells us that the modern dad spends nearly 3 times as many hours with his children as dads did in the 1960s. And I think that's very interesting. So dads are being more intentional. The Pew Research says that there's been a 35% increase in dad presence in non-sport extracurricular activities, which is really significant. I think dads are engaging, and we see this, but when you ask adult children and you ask them, what do you remember? Many times it's not the great gifts or the extravagant things, but it's about the routines. It's about the experiences. And that's, I think that's so important. I know we've talked about this before, but I'm learning and really try to practice that. Our kids really want experiences more than things, and it doesn't have to be expensive experiences, but just try to create those experiences, and data backs up. That's what they'll remember.
That time is super, super important. So as we talk about some of the pieces to understand dads and understand those that may play that role or provide that relationship to you, I want us to try to understand them at a deeper level today. So how do we understand how they love? How do we understand their personality? How do we understand who they are, how they're wired? What are some of those takeaways so we can recognize, when they are providing that love and what it looks like. So you want to jump into that?
Yeah, I want to jump in for just a minute, because I think it's important to understand that dads don't track and show and demonstrate love, like moms do. I think it's important to understand dad. You have to understand the motivation of his heart. If you can see beyond the awkwardness, beyond the silliness, beyond the picking at, the making jokes and kind of making, that kind of thing, making fun, whatever, is really a desire to say, I'm trying to connect with you. And sometimes dads just don't know how to connect. It's just not in their DNA. So they do things to try to build a connection, even if it's an awkward one.
That's such a great point. And I just appreciate you making that point, because I even think about, mine and my husband's relationship with our daughter and the role he plays as a father. And there was one time, probably not too long ago, where, I was trying to understand what was going on. And, I thought, well, I need to step in and help a little bit or something. And he finally was like, hey, this is how dads do it. That, that awkward, that picking, that joking, that is just part of it. And I was like, yes, you're right. You are completely right. And so, it's so funny to me that the picking and think about, in 10 years, in 15 years, those are the stories that you remember that to tell. Those are that our daughter will remember, that she will joke about that with her friends, or her, one day if she has a family and children. Those are the stories that are right now in the making.
That's exactly right.
That are some of the funny situations that are important to have.
That's what she will remember. And, it's not about getting it right. It's not about dads saying the right thing or doing the right things. It's about they were there, they were present, and they were trying to connect. And those stories will be retold over and over again. My dad is, he's got a kind of an Irish type heritage. So he was, he's, like we said, he's a parrot, but he's also very, very gregarious back in the day in terms of showing love and affection. He's very manly, but he didn't mind the emotion. He didn't mind showing the affection. So whenever I would leave the house, I would have to go give him a hug and a kiss. I mean, I'm not talking about as a child. Can you imagine a 16, 17-year-old kid? I remember vividly, I'd be going out at night, going out with my friends or going out, come here, son, give me a hug, give me a kiss. I'm like, Dad, it's a little embarrassing. My friends are standing here. And so fast forward till today, I go over to the place where they are, a wonderful facility, and I would go. And when I go in and when I go visit them, this week, when I go over there, what'll happen is when I leave, and probably many times when I come in, but certainly when I leave, he'll kiss me. He'll hug me and kiss me, and that's the way he shows love. He's not, maybe that may be atypical of some men, but all dads have their way, and they really don't care if it's awkward or not. He's like, I hate that you're embarrassed as a teenager, and you know what? I love that now. I can look back and go, and guess what I do to my son? Of course, my daughter, you know what I do, right? I do the same thing. I hug them and kiss them because the influence Dad had.
Well, dads earn that tone of dad, like that has to be earned, right?
That's just so good. Yes.
I think dads teach some grit sometimes, right?
Oh, man. Yes, absolutely. And by the way, studies show that resilience that dads have that may cause the children to roll their eyes, but that consistent love, however they show it, that can in these ways, that consistent showing of that love is what builds that stamina and resistance and perseverance in children as adults. So it's important. It's important.
Mm-hmm. It's the kind of making a diamond, right? The diamond in the rough. You're just making that child. So let's talk about some shifts. So in dads, understanding your dad, it's great to have the personality awareness to understand, who your dad is or was, or those significant relationships that you have in your life, that you have that tool, you have that resource to better understand who they are and how they're wired, but how dads react in general. But if we talk about making some shifts, these are shifts for us to understand so we can understand our dads better, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's right. And it's just a different perspective as we shift into it. But I got to share with you before we go there, I have a dadism. I got a dadism. Okay. I'm gonna share with you. So when I was going, and see if anybody, maybe Robin, our producer, can help us. She's very smart. I need to know what to smell. My dad says it. I say it. I don't know why I say it sometimes, but I kind of say it. So somebody will say, "How you doing?" or something like that, and my dad would say, "I'm hanging in there like a sick kitten to a hot rock." Does anybody know a sick kitten to a hot rock? And I find myself saying that with no idea what it means. What do you think?
I can't offer you anything.
Nothing. I heard nothing. I heard crickets
nothing
there
at all. I've in fact never heard that one before.
Have you ever heard this? This one is, "How you doing? I'm hanging in like a rusty fish hook." You've heard that. That's Dad.
Got that one.
You got that one down. Well, okay. Back to our conversation. I don't know why this stuff's just coming in my mind. I don't know. All right.
So here's the shift.
Yep.
That fits this one so
Love you,
well.
Dad.
It's shift from a cringy moment.
Speaking of,
I don't understand.
You mean like when I brought the girl home and back to the first story?
You've got
you're really
such
taking
great
us back
stories.
there.
You've got great stories. So shift from those cringy moments to core memories. To know that these things produce memories that you'll forever tell. I'm sure your children know that story.
Oh, do they ever know that story?
Your whole family,
they
all
know the story. Well, it is amazing, Melissa, that I'm married because my wife's name is Melanie. Okay, so when I was dating her, I dated another girl with another name like before that, and my dad.
Two Melanies.
No,
is that what I'm
her
hearing?
name was not Melanie.
Oh.
Okay, and so Dad really liked this other girl, And this was before Melanie was on the scene. Her mom was a school teacher. Okay. Her mom was a school teacher. And I can't remember her name. We'll call her name, Rebecca or whatever. I don't know. So whenever I brought not just Melanie, but if I dated anybody else, but specifically when Melanie and I started dating, I would bring her home and Dad would say, "Oh yeah, your mom's a school teacher." And then he would say, "Well, come on in, Rebecca," and he would just laugh, and
Melanie would correct him, right?
I didn't think, Mr. Little, this is Melanie. I didn't think it was that funny back then, but I kind of do now.
Those parents, sometimes we struggle keeping our details straight. So,
True.
Core memories. You're building core memories, which are so important. Fun stuff.
Fun memories,
yes,
core memories.
Yes.
Another shift that we want to think about is, we, especially in your teenage years and preteens, we thought Dad overreacted. He was too protective.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Was too over the top.
Oh,
but really, we shift that to he was paying attention.
So I've got a story behind that because my dad was protective. I thought he was, and then I experienced he was.
Right.
He was.
He did was.
So, I wasn't going to be able to date till I was 30, and I was the only girl and the baby. And then also my curfew was 10 o'clock when I was a senior in high school. And so I just, of course, everybody else's was so much later than that. It was awkward when I had to go home at 10 o'clock. I thought that was so early. But now I get it, right? Now I understand.
Oh, yeah. So for your girl, the curfew is
going to be like 8:30. 8:30. Me and Kelly, we're going to be aligned and all that. Yeah.
It's the way dads pay attention.
Yeah.
That's just the way they do it. They do. I won't deny we overreact at times, right? But it is out of protection. Maybe that was an overreaction, 10 o'clock. Who knows? But he was paying attention in terms of showing his care and concern. And I think if we can get that mindset, it'll help us moving forward. So what that really is. And then finally, as we shift from, the bad dad jokes, and then that's fine. But instead of being embarrassed or caught off, just know that's Dad connecting with us. So just know why. Just know the why behind the joke. I mean, the jokes, well, they are funny. I mean, I know, we have a tradition here of doing those, and everybody just loves them because they really are funny. But besides that, it's a way dads connect with their children, and that's where the dad joke
I find this shift so interesting that the dad jokes would make it into the shift. I just think that was so interesting. Did you put that in there?
Well, I don't know. I think we ought to talk to our content team. I don't know. Maybe say,
how much did you pay them to do that?
We know. Well, people clamor for the dad joke. And we're going to say today that we have made a decision, and Melissa has asked, and I, of course, what am I going to do? I said, sure. She wants to do the dad joke.
I want to try. I just want to try.
I love that.
I think I want a chance at this, and it will be nothing like what you do, Larry.
That'd be better.
It's to honor you. It is to honor you and your heart for jokes and your legacy that you create with these jokes. And so I have one.
I'm ready.
It's kind of a statement.
Okay.
So think about this. Okay, you're dead.
I'm ready.
I don't tell dad jokes, but when I do, they are fully loaded. So maybe in light of the story you told, I don't know. That worked out somehow in a weird way. I feel like we have made a cringy moment. I don't know.
I love the quiet. I love like the crickets. And I looked at Robin, and she's over there just shaking her head. If you make Robin turn red, you've done a good job. So good job. That was a great joke.
So in light of your story and in light of Father's Day, we have a gift for you.
What do you have? Oh my goodness.
Yes, we have a gift for you.
Wow. For those of you
have
listening,
to read it.
It is a t-shirt, amazing t-shirt that says it says dad jokes, and it's got like a little computer thing, like something's like it's loading up, and underneath it says loading. I love it. This was
there you go.
This could not be any better for our conversation today, for the story we led. It was not planned.
Happy Father's Day. In so many ways.
Oh, my children might be embarrassed. I don't know. But
they should be.
I love it. I will wear this I will wear this with pride. I promise you. I love that. Thank you so much. Wow. How thoughtful. How thoughtful is that? And you did a great job on your joke.
Well,
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm going to create cringy moments. So thank you for joining us today. To all your dads, dad figures, the relationships that you have out there. Happy Father's Day to you. And thank you for all the roles that you play in people's lives.
We do appreciate you. Thanks for being with us. We look forward to next time when we come together to talk about relationships, those little shifts that make a big difference. Take care.
Little shifts that make a big difference. RelationShifts. Little shifts that make a big difference.